Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I will be playing the Delta Green RPG. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The scenario is entitled Separation Anxiety. It was written by Jeffrey Moeller, and it's from the collection Fear's Sharp Little Needles. It's available from Drive-Thru RPG. Our game master is John Dos Passos, and this is episode 2. A recap will be given by Holly Buto as her character, Dr. Matilda Toops. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Holly?
Thanks, Tom. Operation Appalachian Sunrise Report. Agents of P-Cell were gathered in Darke County, Ohio, to investigate the disappearance of genetic researcher Beatrice Bell. The nature of Dr. Bell's research is pertaining to her own medical diagnosis, a condition called Farnsworth-Bell syndrome, which is characterized by brittle bones and rapid blood clotting, among other physical traits. The condition runs in Bell's family and seems to originate from a male founder dating back to 1808. Agents began by investigating the hospital that Dr. Bell works at. A review of security footage shows Bell being grabbed by a person out of frame, and a search of the parking lot turned up her work laptop. An interview of her mother didn't provide any information as to Dr. Bell's whereabouts. However, it was mentioned that her father was a one-night stand, a man known only as Jemmy. Prada researched further into the family and discovered that over the last 50 years, 10 women, all displaying the physical traits of this syndrome, have gone missing, all appearing in the media shortly before their disappearance. All missing from the Kentucky-Ohio region, and none of them having a biological father present in their lives. Pawn was able to procure Bell's cell phone from local law enforcement, which contained an advertisement for Farnsworth Farms, a place that houses several people of the last names Bell and Farnsworth. Parsnip's search of Bell's computer revealed a keylogging virus on it, specifically looking for uses of Farnsworth-Bell syndrome, legends of folklore of Appalachia, and James Farnsworth. The virus is sending data to some address in the local area. Dr. Bell had been looking at a copy of Legends and Folklore of Appalachia on loan from the Miskatonic University. The book describes an oral history of the Farnsworth-Bell clan, led by the reputed sorcerer named James Farnsworth, born in 1808, to an alleged witch. Reports state that most of the Farnsworth clan died in a raid, but were notably difficult to kill, and James has not been seen since. The text also described a horrific rite of passage into the Farnsworth family. Looking further into Bell's research reveals that her case studies share a common father, and numerous signs of inbreeding are present on the mother's sides. According to her data, a relative dying in 1910 has the same father as herself. We're planning to observe the Farnsworth farm to see if there is any unusual activity. Pawn and Paradox seem antsy for action. We must remember our role in this. If there is no evidence of witchcraft, Delta Green has no business here.
Very well said. Thank you. So we open up our scene tonight. We return to the Farnsworth farm where we left off our story last time. It is now evening. It is notable that in this part of the sort of rural part of Darke County, there's very little light pollution. So as you're approaching the farm, sort of from afar where you've parked, and just sort of getting a look at it from afar, the night sky is very beautiful. You can see a lot of stars. A lot of constellations, that are out right now in October. As you approach, I will, sort of give a recap, and then I can also throw up the map here in a second, the new and improved map. But, you can tell that the whole farm seems to occupy about a square mile and about a half mile of road frontage. And it continues sort of running in a rectangle south for about 2 miles into the countryside. There's only one road fronting, and the next road south requires a 2-mile jaunt through the orchard and the neighbors' cornfields. But is, theoretically accessible. There is a number of buildings out front, which can be noted on the map there. And from the website that they have a storefront, which is open from March through the end of October, which sells their produce, apples, vegetables, baked goods, various crafts, and of course, pumpkins. That's pretty much the sort of overall, layout of the area. And so I imagine, you'd probably be on one of these sides, sort of parked off on the side of the road, sort of just kind of getting the overview from afar. You also had the satellite images from before.
And to the south, kind of the far section of that is where we are seeing some firelight, correct?
Correct. Yes, there was at the end. You saw the sort of plume of smoke and slight glow of what is likely a campfire, some sort of bonfire. It looks like as you approach, it was kind of dying down, which is why there was a lot of smoke coming up. But it seems they were just kind of wrapping up something back there.
Now, the way you just described it, you'd say that picture that you just showed, the map, that doesn't look a mile wide, though, right?
From what I understand, it is about half a mile of road, and it goes 2 miles back into the countryside.
Okay.
So yeah, there'd be half a mile by 2 miles in total farm plot.
But there's still a lot more to their actual property that we can't see. It's farther out, farther to the south.
I mean, that's correct. I mean, it appears from the satellite view you got before to mostly be trees, apple orchards and such. But there could be other things sort of, nestled in the woods back there.
The cornfields on either side, is that theirs or is that neighbors?
That is neighboring cornfields, correct. And so mostly there's some roads back there that are accessing back access. And so you can get back there, but you kind of have to jaunt through the cornfields.
Well, do we want to go try and scope out what they're doing, or do we let them go back inside and see what we can make of their nighttime endeavors?
Well, what do you see with the scope right now, Pon? You see any cameras?
I see a lot of apple trees. Let me scope out area.
Do you want to go ahead and give me an alertness roll, and you can add a plus 20 for the scope or for the binoculars?
Okay.
Also, I should note it's about 1 a.m. at this time, because I remember you arrived around 12, and so you've been hanging out for just a little bit, observing.
57 out of 90, so we're good.
Awesome. Yes. And so you were able to spot, you do actually see what looks like a figure. And the reason you notice this is you think that they've got maybe their phone, or they're flicking a lighter or something like that, maybe lighting a smoke, and they're walking, they seem to be coming out of the apple trees, and they are now walking through the pumpkin patch sort of area back towards the buildings. And so it seems like some people are heading back.
Any cameras around the main building area?
There do not look to be cameras. There perhaps might be some like even closer that you couldn't see from here. But this looks more like a classic farm where they sort of protect themselves. There's not really necessarily a high-tech security, at least that you can see from here.
Excellent.
Can we make a fair assumption that the activities that were taking place started around midnight?
They either they started at midnight or perhaps after dark, because the farm was open earlier in the day. So maybe either at some point between nightfall and midnight was when they started. They seem to be concluding right about now.
But it's 1 a.m. So
correct.
If they started when the sun went down, they'd have been out there for 6 hours. All right.
5 or 6 with the cleanup and shutdown of the farm and the store.
Should we wait until we see the lights in the farmhouse go out, and then see if we can work our way around to like the back access road and see if we can find whatever they were burning out there?
We can probably go through the cornfields and you wouldn't be able to see us.
That's true.
Yeah, that plan sounds good.
And Agent Pond would like to keep track of kind of the number of people that are coming out of the woods.
Sure. It's a little hard to tell given the limited light. There is some light coming from the buildings and the moonlight. And so, like I said, some people are lighting cigarettes or doing things like that. So you are able to spot a couple with your good alertness skill. It seems that you see at least maybe about 10 or more, like maybe between 10 to 15 figures at least that are coming back at this point. And it seems that most of them head to the largest of the buildings, the rightmost one on the map. the bigger building on the right seems to be where a lot of them are going. So you can presume that maybe some living quarters or apartments or some kind of building, which means the other buildings are likely the farm and storage and storehouse, or sorry, the store.
What kind of animals do they have in that pen down there?
Let's see. Mostly just some livestock, it looks like. They do have some products like milk and butter. They make apple pie using mostly local ingredients. When they don't have enough, you imagine they probably borrow from the neighbors. And these are all things that they advertise on their website. They have, like I said, they have flyers like the one that you found on Bell's phone, and they advertise these sort of things. Fresh apple pie, cider, and cider donuts, stuff like that.
You mentioned that it is a crystal clear night. What phase of the moon is it?
A good question. Let me consult. It is the gibbous moon, waning gibbous. So the full moon has already passed.
And I don't know astronomy, but I want to kind of take note of any unusual to me constellations, so that later
Sure.
I can actually check, on a computer and see if there was anything particularly interesting up in the sky.
Sure. I guess you could do an intelligence roll in that case, since you don't have astronomy.
03.
Nice, yeah.
That's a regular
You
pass.
see, yeah. You see that looks to be, seems like a regular October night. You do see there's a couple constellations that are usually easy to see. One of them is Lacerta or Lacerta, and there's also Aquarius would be the current zodiac sign. So you pick up on Aquarius at least as just somebody that understands what the zodiacs look like, and then you might know that there's the Lacerta, which is the lizard. You don't seem to see anything that is abnormal, at least not that but like I said, you can get a better read on that when you double check it against a map chart,
Right.
since you don't know particularly yourself.
See if there's any correlation between some star that's associated with weird stuff.
Right. No, it doesn't seem to be any appearing red stars or, little blots that shouldn't be there. But when you look at a map, you can confirm that.
Now, Pawn, those people you've been keeping track of, what's their genders? Is it all one gender or anything in particular?
Kind of hard to tell from here in the night, but just judging by the figure and by whether they're the kind of overalls they're wearing from afar, you can see with the binoculars. Like when one lights their cigarette, you see it's clearly a man because he's not wearing a shirt under the overalls. But you see one or two more slender figures, which you would imagine are women. So, and there are a lot of them. So you'd presume it's not 10 to 15 guys that are all coming back from this gathering.
Are they roughly the same height, age kind of feel?
They definitely look of like a varying number of ages. Some are hunching over more than others, but they do all look slightly on the taller end.
Yeah, that's bad news.
Well, and which does match Beatrice. So
Right.
I say we check that out from the corn.
Agreed.
all right, so a couple people want to sneak up through the corn to look at the people that are going by, or like what in particular are you trying to sneak up on to get a good look at?
The remnants of the fire that they had. Maybe they left some evidence.
Right.
Sure. So I guess we can have so who wants to go sneak in, and then are the others just going to kind of wait watch, or are they going to do something else while the others are inside? Or sorry, in the bushes rather.
I'll sneak in.
I'll sneak in as well.
I'm gonna draw my my 22 from my ankle holster, put on the silencer.
My stealth is not very good, so I'm going to stay farther away.
Yeah, I'll stay in the corn as well.
But I'll get closer. I'll get closer so that I'm not too far from them.
So yeah, remaining, sort of a little bit back in the corn at nighttime is enough that they have too much negatives to their alertness. In that case, they're not. I'm not even going to make them roll. But for those of you who want to get a little closer to get a better look at either the people or to try to get closer to to get closer to the tree line of the apple trees, which is kind of in the apple trees is where you saw the sort of the bonfire coming up from. So you need to get closer to there. So if you want to do either of those, go ahead and give me a stealth roll. I'll roll some things in the background.
That is just dead on.
Pass. 31.
All right. Yeah, just a pass is all you needed. So you are you both going for the remnants closer towards that way, or which way is each of you heading?
Paradox. I'm assuming we would have talked about this too. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll
Okay. Yeah.
I'll check out the people. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, so Paradox is going to slowly creep through and stay in the cornfields, but get as close to the people that are returning now through the apple orchard and the pumpkin patch. Get a closer look at them, and then Patch is going to go further to try to sort of. Do you want to get fully into? You want to go into the apple orchard, or do you want to try to just see what you can see from here in the cornfield?
I want to push forward.
Okay. Yeah. And so as you continue a little bit, we'll go ahead and do you first. So you continue down, you kind of have to do a little bit of a kind of dicey run, but with your successful stealth, you are able to sort of slip from the cornfields, a few yards over into where the apple trees start. You kind of duck, lose a eye line on a lot of the figures that are moving, kind of coming out of them still, a couple of them. You do notice there seem to be a couple late leavers. And so you can now see that the fire is just embers. There's a couple people there that seem to be trying to make sure that the fire is out before they go away, because they obviously don't want to burn down any apple trees. Although you see that there is one, from here you can see one large, very large apple tree that seems to be in the center of all the rest. And that seems to be sort of off to the side in a little clearing by that tree seems to be where the bonfire was. You can go ahead and give me an alertness as well. And then Paradox, you can do that as well as you approach the people, and I will give you something for that in just a moment.
No, that's a failure. Just a regular failure, but
yeah. So you don't. Yeah, go ahead.
34.
Cool.
So pass.
Yeah. So first of all, unfortunately, Pat, you don't see much more yet. If you wait for the figures to completely leave, you could push forward and go see about that fire and look around a little closer. But it does seem, like I said, there's a couple people that are. Still putting the fire out or making sure the embers die and lingering a little bit. However, Paradox. So you kind of approach in the cornfield, try to get in a good position to take a look at these people. Did you bring the binoculars, I assume, or?
No, I didn't. Pawn has those.
Okay. But yeah, even just with your eyes, you can see kind of in the moonlight that you can kind of confirm that there does seem to be roughly even smattering, maybe a few more men, but it does look like there are men and women. They look to be of varying age. You notice you don't see anybody too young. You don't see any children. There might be a couple of teenagers. They could be, 18 or 19, but there are a couple of that around that age. And there are, of course, a few adults and one or two we'd call, middle-aged. Nobody too old, because you imagine they're not doing a lot of farm work and not going out here at this hour. But there are some, more middle-aged, type folks.
Now, are they armed? Am I noticing any bulges and pockets? Or
you do notice there are some tools. They have some farming tools, which obviously could be used as weapons. Pitchforks, things like that. Rakes. Seems like one of them has some sort of a hoe, like a plow. Sort of hoe. And you think that one actually does have a shovel. They've got one of those trench shovels stuffed into their belt.
And they have it on their person. They're not equipped.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one isn't carrying it. The ones that have rakes and pitchforks, those are usually being carried just sort of casually at their sides. They look like they're coming, they're kind of finishing their day. Maybe they came from a celebration or they were doing some work back there. But it looks like they're kind of, they don't really care about the tools at this point. They're not wielding them. They're just kind of dragging them along or carrying them, kind of to the side, ready to, ready to put them up and, end the day, it looks like.
Okay, so nothing looks out of the ordinary.
Not particularly. I mean, it is a lot of tools, but it is a farm. So.
Yep. All right. I think I'm just going to back off then.
Cool. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, and like I said, from here, you do think, one or two of the people that aren't wearing too much hats or that, aren't too far away from you, they do appear to have some similar features. Like I said, they look a little tall. They, appear to have darker hair, fair skin. So they do seem, you can't get a perfect read in the light, but they do seem similar to Beatrice Bell from, the picture you have and the descriptions you have of the, FBS, Farnsworth Bell syndrome.
But no sign of Dr. Bell.
Unfortunately, no. She is not one of these figures walking through.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, and so you all back at the back at sort of the near the car, kind of where everyone was sort of watching from afar. You do see more of the people sort of slowly make their way towards the large building. A couple of them head to one of the smaller buildings all the way on the left, the leftmost two, to seemingly put up some things. A couple of them just take them with them. Maybe there's another storage inside the other building. But they all seem to put some of those away, and it seems that most of them end up back at that big building on the right, the sort of living area. All right, so back to Patch. Now that most people have sort of cleared out, you can see that the fire is fully out. You see the last couple people sort of stumbling their way back. You hear one of them sort of chuckle, and it seems like they light the other cigarette or something like that, and two of them head off through the pumpkin patch.
I'm going to press in on the tree in the middle and where the bonfire is.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and give me a search?
Okay.
But unfortunately, it'll be -20
Okay.
due to just how dark it is out here.
Yeah, sure.
And you're not getting much moonlight through the trees, unfortunately.
No, that's 100. No.
Oh, geez. So that is a fumble, unfortunately.
Yes.
Because it is a double, and it is the double, the 0-0 double. So unfortunately, you're kind of looking around, and you don't really find much. In fact, you're kind of looking around, and you stumble, and you kind of hit a branch, and it kind of scrapes your arm. You do take 1 point of damage.
Sure.
As it kind of cuts, and there is a few drops of blood, but nothing too crazy. You kind of just put your hand on it, and it's
Sure.
It's not bleeding everywhere when you've got something on it, so nothing too crazy, just 1 point. But unfortunately, you don't see much. It looks like I said, there is the remains of a fire here. The ground is a little disturbed, but that a lot of the ground around here is disturbed, as would be fitting of an apple orchard. So it seems like stuff's regularly wheelbarrowed, or they drive through here with machinery and stuff like that.
Okay. Then I'm probably gonna head back because I feel like, there's nothing here, and I'm just making noise now. So I'm gonna head back to join up with the group.
Cool. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and give me another stealth roll
Okay.
as you head back.
Come on, dice. Not a 100 again, please.
Oh,
Oh no, that's better. Okay. 47 out of 50. We're good.
again, there was a lot of penalties on that roll, and I just thought it was funny. No, me, not you, me.
Oh.
So I rolled just to see if any of them look back, and funny enough, I got 100. So the 100s are hot tonight. I don't know what's going on, but that's apparently a thing. My two skulls, the Mark and Necronomicon skulls said hello there. So, all right. So yeah, you're able to rejoin the group. It seems that most of them are heading to bed, or at least going inside. You see the lights in the farmhouse and the other building that's probably a storage shed are off. And there's a couple lights in the higher rooms of the sort of living area, but it seems that most of the lights in the farm are off at this point. It's about 1:30 now at this point.
I didn't see anything. I'm sorry. I don't.
You bleeding?
Yeah.
Yeah, you better patch yourself up.
Porn.
I didn't see
Funny
anything
paradox.
besides farmers doing farmer things.
Pawn and I have been sitting here in the corner discussing this. Doesn't it seem like farmers go to bed early? And if they were going to have some end of the harvest festival thing, they would do it like around sunset so they could go to bed early. But witches, they like the midnight thing. So something definitely odd is going on. we've got some areas of figuring things out. I want to figure out if there's anything important about the current time of year, night sky. I mean, I'll have to do that on the computer, but is this some time that's important to classical witches? We're heading towards October. I mean, no, towards Halloween. So,
So are you suggesting we pack it in, Prada, and do some research and come back? Or
well, did we find the burn spot?
yeah, it's the tree, on the map. That's that big middle spot that we all thought kind of stood out, but
So
I
they're
didn't see
burning
anything.
stuff around it?
It was just a fire pit, right?
Yeah, it seemed to be a fire pit in the clearing. And like I said, there was some areas of disturbed dirt around it. You figured if you can manage to get back there during the day, you could give it a second look.
Around.
Yeah, and you could get
it's
some
too dark
more.
right now. I couldn't see
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah,
Well,
we can also bring a lab kit by if you need to pull a sample from the ash of some kind.
Yeah.
That-
I kind of like
but-
Prada's idea of
Yeah.
doing the tourist bit during the day, because then we're supposed to be here. And
Well, I was thinking though, while we're here, I mean, if we block with our bodies the area between the pit and the house, we could use our flashlights to see what's in the pit. Maybe there's fragments of human bone, or
okay.
or if they were burning some sort of ritual paper that didn't completely burn and got
I mean, anyone that's on like the second story of the house is gonna see that pretty easily, I think. But
well, if we're careful.
well, look, why don't we wait until like all the lights are out in the house? We can kind of reasonably assume people have gone to bed, and then we'll do what we can to block.
We only need it for a second. The chances that somebody at this time of night is looking out the window,
Mhm.
even if they were, we could get whatever evidence we need and be gone before anybody.
That's true.
Got to
That's true.
us.
Okay. All right.
Just thinking there might be something, a clue, a piece of cloth, something that she was wearing. It didn't quite burn, Then again,
Sure.
it could all be just ashes, in which case.
Right. Guess we just need to be careful not to alert them. The last thing we need is
give them a minute to get back in their house so they won't hear us traipsing about. It's kind of hard to move through a cornfield and be quiet, to be honest.
Yeah, but they're half a mile away by now, aren't they? GM.
I mean, they were heading to the house.
The house is about a
Um,
half a mile away from the tree, right?
The house would be about, it would be a little, the lesser, there's a little bit of a part down there at the bottom. So it'd be, 3/4, of
Yeah.
half a mile. So, about 2/10 of a mile or
They
3/10 of a mile.
can't, they couldn't hear us if we were yelling. Probably.
No. Probably not. If you were all the way at the tree and yelling, they would probably not hear you unless they were outside. And they might not even hear you then.
So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to wait a bit, wait until we see the
Okay.
lights completely turn out.
Mhm.
And then we're going to sneak over to the pit and see if we can see anything that looks suspicious. Unburnt paper, bits of bone. things like-
At night, that is?
Yeah, right now.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I mean. So it'll take about an hour or two. You think maybe about 3:00 is when I think the last light turns off. And so it's maybe 2:57 when you see that. And so it is about 3:00 now. It seems all the lights are off. And so you can easily kind of sneak back there. You make your way through the cornfields and the neighbors, and then you make your way back again through the apple orchard. Patch leads you back. You find your way back there again to this little site. And by the light of one of your like phone flashlights or a flashlight if you brought one, somebody can give me another search roll, just regular this time.
That's my search. Oh, my search is good. Oh, 66 of
09 this
Shit.
time. Wasn't
Failure.
Okay.
which is good.
I'm keeping an eye on the house because
Okay.
searching and I don't
Sure.
cooperate.
Yeah, it seems like luckily you would know farmers need to get up in a few hours at this rate, so everybody's definitely asleep at this point. Maybe some of the youngins might still be up, but their lights are off, so there's that. So you are able to, as you're searching around, Patch, this time you are able to find, you kind of dig around in the ground, where you saw some of that earth that had been disturbed, and there's a patch that looks like it had been raked over with a hoe. And as you kind of kick it around with your shoe and move around a little bit, you kick something hard, metallic, and you find the collar of a dog, like a dog's collar with a metal tag, and it says Rusty, and it has a phone number to call. And then seemingly there's a dog collar that seems to have been buried here.
Did they just fucking bury the family dog because it died?
I mean, that's what farmers do.
They buried a family dog.
Not at fucking 1 o'clock in the morning.
This isn't the number for the farm, is it?
It is not. It does seem to be a Ohio, like a Dark County area code, just outside, near Arcanum, outside of Cleveland, but not this specific farm. At least could be it's a mobile number, so it could be one of their mobiles, but it's not the landline that's listed on the website.
Maybe we can look for fresh dirt.
Yeah,
because assuming they buried something,
the ashes. You guys can look for fresh dirt and see if they.
I'm going to look for fresh dirt, especially around that tree.
It looks like there is dirt that has been, like I said, tools have been on it, and it looks like stuff has run over it, vehicles, either wheelbarrows or like a tractor or like a cart that's the hay barrel ride that sort of goes through the apple orchard. It probably does a little circle in here. And so it does look like a lot of this is like loose ground that has been either worked or run over with one of those vehicles. You do also see Patch and Prada, as you're looking through, you do see the ashes of something in the fire. So something was burned, they used a lot of kindling so they could burn something. You can actually give me, if you have a forensics, you can go ahead and give me a forensics roll and let me know what the roll is and what your score is, because both are going to matter.
That's zero.
All right, Pawn, you're a forensics guy, aren't you? Come look at this.
I am absolutely not a forensics.
I'm a forensics guy.
It's Paradox. Paradox is a forensics guy.
If I see paper, cloth,
I rolled
or
a 30.
bone, I'm going to take it, whether I can identify what it is or not.
And you're able to sort of look around. You maybe take out like a pencil or a pen and sort of just poke around just a little bit, or like a little piece of metal that is designed for this sort of thing. And you're able to see that by moving it around, there does look to be some crispy bits of something, like something was burned and was burned to ash here. And so that's why it's a consistent fire. It looked like some sort of small creature, maybe a badger or a dog or a skunk or a raccoon, something like that was burned on the fire.
Okay.
And so little bits are in the ash.
It looks like they burned something to ash here. And I'm going to put my gloves on, put that in the baggie.
Yeah. And the tree itself, looking at the tree, is there anything carved into it?
No, there's nothing. There's nothing carved into the tree. However, excuse me, you do see that there is a few sort of like rocks or stones sort of around the tree. Like little stones, maybe you could sit on them if you were gathered around or something like that. Just that happened to be there in the sort of gravel and dirt.
Okay.
So they might have just burned a dog to ash.
Could have been just a pet thing, but it's an odd time for doing that in the middle of the night.
Yeah, near midnight.
But why burn a pet? Why not just bury it? That's just strange to me. I mean, I get it's not illegal, but it just seems strange.
Don't witches sacrifice things?
Pawn's the resident witchcraft expert.
I mean, that lines up from everything you've read about, right? Is cut open something, read its innards. This is not.
What's everyone's
not
occult?
good.
Even that's not illegal. It's just,
Let's see, who has a? Go ahead.
I think I can't think of anything else to do. I think we should skedaddle. We can look at all this stuff in the morning. that we've gathered.
It seems like three of you have a cult at 20. So yeah, you'd know that there are, there are rituals that are like, witchcraft rituals or pagan rituals or, different types from different cultures that involve, sacrificing an animal, or like you even mentioned, doing something with its organs or doing some sort of thing as a ritual or as a way to prophesize. There are definitely tales like that. You would know from just sort of a passing occult knowledge as a Delta Green agent.
But those aren't real. Those are just things that mostly shamans and fortune tellers have been doing for 1,000 years. Let's go back. Maybe tomorrow we can infiltrate by pretending to be tourists.
Do we want to peek into any windows? Or
they're all asleep in the dark.
Yeah.
You said, Agent Paradox, you said they were returning the tools to the shed. Neither of them seemed to have particularly heavy security. Didn't see someone fumble with a lock for a few minutes or something.
No, I didn't see any like handguns or any other arms.
There might be farmhands sleeping in there.
Right. Well, the concern is if we saw something that was heavily locked down, that might be where our missing scientist is.
Maybe it's maybe they're storing the scientists underground, because I can't imagine having them on the ground floor with windows.
Right.
Yeah, where some tourists could just stumble in on accident.
Yep.
They could be in a little shed somewhere out in the orchard, and we just didn't see it.
True.
Let's get a reading for what these people are like when we visit tomorrow. Because if they're all just, hippie witches, then we might be barking up the wrong tree.
Well, don't bring up Rusty, whatever you do.
Anyone want to call this number tomorrow? That seems kind of strange now.
Let's get out of here.
Yep.
Yeah, you're able to return to your vehicles without much trouble. You do feel like if you didn't park in the parking lot, but parked like this in the day for too long, maybe the neighbors or one of them might notice. But it seemed like, in the dead of night, most people in this part of the country are asleep. So luckily, your vehicles were unaccosted. So you're easily able to get back and head back. Are you going to go to the little town of Arcanum, or slightly farther to get back to Cleveland to get a hotel for the night, or a motel?
Didn't we get a little place?
I don't think so. I mean, if we want to do it for free, we can just go stay at Belle's house.
Oh,
It's not like
yes. Theoretically, if anybody comes there, they might be a little bit questioned at it, but you could go to Beatrice Bell's house, I suppose.
I'll just stay near here. Yeah, I'll just rent a hotel room. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, you're easily able to find, you can looks like your options are a family inn or a Motel 6. So you can go slightly more sleazy and slightly more eyes for cheaper, or your beds are a little cleaner and you pay a little more.
We've got to find a place that'll let us come in at this time of the morning.
But there's more eyes there. Both of them are 24/7. So.
Right.
It seems like there aren't a lot of hotels and motels in the area, but these two are the ones, so they're open.
All right.
We could go to my place in Dark County.
Yeah, you could go all the way to Steve's place, but that would technically be compromising your home address.
That's true.
So that's up to you that's up to you as an agent.
No. Let's just go to Motel 6. Hopefully I can get a room that's a non-smoking room.
Parsnip, since we're just kind of going for the night, you want to see if you can track down who it is that's got that keylogger on the laptop? Is that something you could just set up and then let it run?
Yeah, I don't know if it would require monitoring to set it up and let it run.
No, I mean, obviously it would take some time to write the initial code, but it will essentially execute itself in sort of backtracing the virus.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's 3:00 in the morning. I don't know how much longer you want to stay up, but if you're looking for something to do.
hell, we've been up this long. Might as well make coffee and watch the sun come up.
Yeah, put on a pot. I'll keep you company if you want.
Fantastic.
I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, we have to get some rest so that we're brightened. But yeah, we go to bed.
But yeah, basically, if you want to set that up, you can take a few hours and get maybe an hour or so less sleep than everybody else. But unfortunately, the only penalty for that here would be that if you don't get at least a couple hours, like 4 hours of sleep, the first penalty for the first night is simply that you don't regain the usual willpower you would. So usually on a night you gain a certain amount of willpower. I believe it's a D4, I think. So you get a D4 willpower back every night. But if you did not sleep at least 4 hours, you do not get that. And if you do that a couple nights in a row, that's when you start to get penalties. So had you projected on the bonds or used willpower for who knows what, and then you couldn't regain it, but since you're at least a light, you slept last night, you can lose a few hours.
Yeah, I'll stay up.
Sure. So yeah, so the two of you stay up a little bit, you get that going. The virus has started, the backtracing of the virus has started. Sort of the counter code that you've written to sort of follow that code is going, and you even give it a little, like, basically what you do is you, like I said, you write the code to initiate. You get it prepped and ready, and then you get the virus trigger. So you type in Farnsworth-Bell syndrome again, or Legends of Appalachia, and then the virus triggers again, and then your code starts working. So it looks like it's good. Perhaps it'll be finished by tomorrow morning. Otherwise, it'll be finished at some point tomorrow that you can come back to. You roll for that.
All right, it's up and running. We'll see what happens.
All right. And then, so a little bit after everybody else, you can all get to sleep then, or the two of you can get to sleep and join the others. What time does everybody want to wake up? I assume you want to get a couple hours, so 7, 8, 9. What's the idea?
What time does the farm open?
I think it is at 7. Let me double check. Sorry, it is actually open from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. 7 days a week.
Breakfast.
That is the storefront, and basically the same hours for the farm.
Right.
You might be able to stay a little bit later if you're coming back from picking apples late at night, but that's generally, they start closing down the store. They want to start closing down everybody else, kicking everybody out.
Well, how about a hearty breakfast at the local Denny's before going apple picking?
Sure.
Not until 9. Let's go at 9 to 10.
Sure. Yeah, so you all wake up around, at the later side of 8, or around 8 or 9. Get ready a little bit and head to Denny's around 9:15. You all arrive. Greet each other. Parsnip and Paradox look a little bit more weary, but nothing that is going to be anything substantial. They're, as soon as they get some coffee, and then they'll be fine. So,
Call this coffee.
Denny's coffee. Yeah.
What did you expect?
I think
Why
Prada's
isn't
used
there
a finer fare than this.
They need a Starbucks in Dark County, Ohio.
Kind of pegged you for some artisan type Prada, not
Starbucks coffee is quite good. But yes, I don't want to have to make my own coffee today. Did you find anything? Is the computer found where the virus?
Looks like at 9 a.m., not quite yet, but it does look like it has made significant progress. So you can probably come back either after breakfast or by lunch. It should be done.
We'll see what it yields, if anything.
So we need to come up with a backstory. Where are we traveling? Where would we naturally be traveling to stop at this farm and take a look?
we need a backstory. Can't we just buy tickets like every other tourist coming in the door?
Well, maybe they'll be friendly and they'll talk to us. Say, oh, where are you from?
You are the friendliest person here, Hades. I am very off. I've been told I'm very off-putting, so
They
I'll
better
just be the
not
guy
talk.
buying a
Yeah.
ticket. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I just want us all to be on the same page in case we're cornered. Chicago?
Sure.
And we're heading to somewhere in the opposite direction. I don't know.
Maybe some museum.
Anywhere
Arizona?
south, basically.
Florida. We'll just
Yeah, say
Florida.
Florida, Atlanta, you know.
You'd go this way. Well, I don't know where Ohio is actually. So.
Biggest ball of twine is next on our
Yeah.
stop.
I believe Ohio's, right center, if that makes sense to you, kind of close, kind of below the Midwest, if that makes any sense. I do believe.
I've got
We
these
could be on our
magic
way
box.
to Columbus or something for.
That could also make sense. Yeah. If you could be on your way to
Art and
Columbus or
Music
even
festival. Yeah.
even
Art and
Cleveland,
Music
yeah.
Festival.
Does everyone have cover clothes?
it's a good point. Because you do have sort of you have clothes that would make sense for somebody that's investigating this kind of thing to go with your FBI badges, but
Right.
I'm assuming people brought some sort of civvies.
Yeah, we'll go in plain clothes.
Mhm.
Can
There's
always
a
stop
good
by.
yeah. There's a Goodwill near here. I'll just go get a big oversized sweater that can cover a little bit of body armor.
Yep. Pon's like, damn it, they told me to pack light. It's all business casual and suits.
It's all FBI windbreakers.
Right? Yeah. So you all get suited up.
We could also say that we're ultimately heading to Washington, D.C.
That would work.
That's good too. Sure.
Yep.
All right. Of course, I've got clothing.
I figured you wouldn't be going undercover.
I could dress in a pumpkin suit. No. No, I'm just dressing as I normally would. I need to see if I can get something. Maybe there's something I have here to take notes. I'm going to pretend like I am researching for, creating a travel guide.
Okay. So your travelers from Chicago heading to DC decided, or Columbus, was it?
Well, it's the same. It's in a straight line.
Okay.
I just looked at the map.
Yeah, so you're coming from Chicago, you're passing through Columbus, you're going to go to DC eventually for some kind of art museum or conference or something like that. Wonderful. Yeah, and you're doing a piece, a travel guide.
Yes, family-owned businesses that are doing orchards and pumpkin picking.
So it's about 9:30 when you're leaving the Denny's.
Yeah,
Did you all want to go together and arrive together, or what is the plan there?
I'd say we could say that we're all traveling together unless somebody wants to do something covert.
I wouldn't mind driving my car as well, considering what's in the trunk.
Yeah. Got a good point there, Pon.
I'm not taking my bike. So
All right, so 2 cars, it sounds like.
Sure.
Anybody going to go with
Yeah.
Pon, or just Pon by himself?
I'll go.
Okay, cool. So we got Parsnip and Pon, and then Patch, Paradox, and Prada. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Are you both going to arrive at the same time in the parking lot, or?
Yes, I'm assuming that
within
it's
2
tourist
minutes.
season and there's people
Yeah.
going in, so we should blend in easily enough.
Did you want to arrive right at about 10 or just before, as they're opening, or you want to wait until after they're already open?
A few minutes.
All right, sure. Yeah, so you pull in about 10:10, 10:15 by the time you're parked. It seems like there's a couple people here already. Maybe some, you see a family that's, still just barely getting out of the car. The mother is taking the first of many of a couple children out of the car seats and, getting them out of the car and, getting them to, make sure they have their boots on the right way. Their clothes look all right. They're not, their shirts, partially tucked in or anything like that. Looks like an older couple's arrived as well, and they're kind of slowly making their way in. There's not a whole lot of people on this day particularly, but there is, a couple, like I said, that are arriving. So there's many spots in the parking lot, of course. Now that you get a closer look, you can see a little better the sort of buildings. It looks like the smaller building the smaller building in the middle is the store, and then the building on the leftmost building, actually all the way on the left side, seems to be probably the storage shed, and then and you get that because the largest building here on the left, the one kind of in the middle left, that's the red one, that's the farm. Or rather, sorry, that's the barn, and the one next to it is the farmhouse. So you got the barn, the red barn, there's the farmhouse, and then the store right there. You see that there, the playground looks decent. A little bit old on the, a little bit on the older side as far as the, equipment, but looks safe. You do notice one thing particularly as you're arriving and you sort of, scoping the place out. There are a couple signs posted that say "No dogs allowed."
They burned that. We found that dog collar too. I wonder what that's about.
No, maybe they got a phobia of dogs.
Can I do an occult roll to see if, like I know something like witches are afraid of dogs?
Sure. Yeah.
Like
yeah. You can do an occult roll.
87.
Not
Almost
that you're aware of. Yeah. Not that you can think of.
Yeah, I can't think of anything like that.
Maybe they just don't want a dog sniffing out the people they've got hiding in the basement. I don't know. Doesn't
Maybe
seem
they have
likely though.
chickens.
Seems strange. If we're gonna lean into this idea of sorcery and witchcraft, seems a little strange.
But we should look that up when we get the chance. When we're back tonight, we can see if there's any legends of particular entities that are afraid of dogs.
And we know we have access to a dog.
That is true. There is the bloodhound back at BB's apartment. Or
Just
sorry,
in case
her little townhome. Sorry.
Oh, yes. They'd
What was
be
that?
afraid of
Yeah.
a dog finding a dead body and digging it up.
But
Nobody
if
wants
we
the
bring that
to
dog
come-
here, they're gonna boot us out. Like we'd have to bring him
Well-
after dark.
We have to
But then he might
discover the
bark.
significance of what the dog does.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm saying you mentioned the lady with the kids and the old folks.
Yeah.
It's like everybody I see, I'm like, good morning. Good morning.
And they're like, oh yeah, the old couple's like, good morning, good to see you. Are you here for the apples and the fresh goods or?
Oh, well, I'm actually here just taking a look around. I'm writing a travel guide, so I'm
Oh wow, that'd be
pleasant little
great.
places. Yes.
Oh,
this is
that'd be
very
great.
nice.
We're from the next county over. The ladies, talking to you, as you pass by, and she's like, I gotta say, I'll be honest with you, their pumpkins are all right. She's kind of like, they're not the best, but now the apples, those they say the apples are best in the county. I come from the other county to get. They're very good. They're great pie, really good pie.
Fantastic. That's good
Yeah.
to know.
And then the old man says, yeah, good to see you. Come on, honey. And they start making their way over. It looks like they're probably here for some apples.
Yeah.
Family here is maybe here to pick some apples and pick pumpkins. Definitely a very good. You can get a good couple hours of kid enjoyment. Get some produce to play around with or make some food out of for the autumn season.
Apple pie pumpkins would be fairly sour, like Granny Smith's. All right. So let's have a look around. I suppose we can go into the store first. See if they've got jams and jellies and things like that.
Yeah. So is everyone going to head into the store? Or?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and as you enter, you see it kind of confirms, a lot of what you saw on the website. It looks like they have some fresh apple pies that are for sale. They've got some cider, apple cider and cider donuts. They also even have some. There looks like to be some alcoholic cider that they serve. That you can't drink it here, but you can. It's jugged, so you can take it home and drink it either hot or cold, how you like it. And then of course the cider they serve is non-alcoholic, so the kids can have it. Eat it with the donuts or with whatever. There's also some other things, it looks like they've got some pumpkin pastries kind of thing, little bits and bobs. And they do have some apple jam, in fact, and maybe even some jelly or like a jelly with preserves, or whatever you call that, where it's got the little bits of fruit in it. And like I said, a lot of craft stuff that you might regularly see. As you enter and you're looking around, an older lady, kind of matches BB's description a little. Her hair is a little more on the browner side, but she is a little taller. She's not too different from everyone else you've seen. And she even walks up. She's got a nice name tag on her. It says Mary Lou. And she's like, oh, hey there, is the, if you need any help with anything, you do let me know. We do custom orders. If there's something, you'd like us to bake up, we'll call you when it's finished. If you want some kind of other apple or pumpkin pastry, only about a month or so left, in the apple season, pumpkins are only going to be good for so long. So get them while you can.
Well, let me introduce myself. I am Hades Vandermeer. You may have read something that I've written. I'm an author.
She said, "Oh, an author's like, no, I'm sorry, I don't by chance haven't heard of you. Most of the things I read have to do with home crafts or farming. But I'd love to hear we've got a local writer or a writer in our little local bit of town.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep her busy, find out information from her, chit chat with her, taste some of the goods because I'm writing a book and I need to do all that.
She'll
the
even
other
offer
people
you a
can kind
sample.
of do stuff,
Awesome. Yeah. She'll even offer you maybe a sample or two, and, kind of encourage you to buy some more. She's like, oh, yeah, you could, maybe you want to buy some and, you could write a little, you could even put a review for us in your tour book. I wouldn't mind, as long as it's an honest review. I can take some constructive criticism. And so you do occupy for a little bit, you get kind of a little bit of information. She mentions, that, it's completely, family style. They've got a couple farm hands that they hire locally, but most people are at least somewhat related to them, mostly, direct family or some cousins, second cousins, nephews.
So that's where I'm going to concentrate on
Mm-hmm.
is asking her questions. It's like, your family runs the place.
And she doesn't want to give any too much personal information. She doesn't give you names or anything like that, but she does talk about, in general, the family, and that it's been in the family for a while, the Farnsworths. They moved out here a long time ago. They've been in America for a long time.
And who's
farmers,
in charge?
Craftsmen.
Who's in charge of the farm? Is it sort of generally owned by all of you?
Well, yeah, there's a couple of us, more, dare I say, elder members of our family. There's myself. We have there is Jebediah. There's James. We got Cindy. She's our tour guide. She's kind of our public. What's the public relations? Yeah. She's sort of our public relations. She's good with them social media. She keeps our website and Facebook and all them thingamajiggies going. Make sure we have a presence there. Don't get a lot of landline calls anymore, unfortunately. But the occasional local usually uses that method. So it's good for travelers to be on the interwebular thing.
Could you arrange like a tour? I'm very interested.
Yeah, of course. We do offer tours of the farm. We do include a little mini tour. If you are interested in picking apples, we do give you a little hay bale ride if you're interested. Back to the back of the farm, you can pick your own apples. We got we do have this year we got sour and green and red. Sour and sweet. So we have one side, a couple rows on one side, couple rows on the other side. So we do have a little sort of mini tour. Otherwise, we could do a full tour, of the farm if you're interested. Basically you book a couple hours ahead, or if you come too late, we might schedule you tomorrow.
Well, we're on our way to DC, so we're going to be in Columbus
okay.
tomorrow. We just stopped by. Somebody recommended, as they said, your apple pies are delicious.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes, the some people like the red, but I find the green are really quite good, or a mix, dare I say. You're doing a nice mix of them.
So if I need to arrange a tour, then I won't be able to do that. But
well, I mean, how many are you in your group, and how much a bushel each, or were you just getting the one?
My friends are here with me. However, they're not really interested. I'm really interested for the book.
Okay.
They might go on the tour. They might just wander around a bit.
As I could fit you in today, say 2 p.m. 2 o'clock. I could give you a tour then if you're interested. Cindy, she'll be free then. It's
4 hours from now. I just don't know that we'll be around.
All right, no worries. We're here. Should you need us or want to?
Can I try to? Do we have persuade? I do have persuade. Can I sort of? use charm to persuade her into saying, "Well, I guess we can give you your own tour."
Sure. Yeah. Maybe skip the line. A little bit of a writer's. I'm writing a tour guide. Maybe I'll write a little nicely for the tour guide. Yeah.
I got a 55 out of 65, so that's a critical.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Describe what you say for the critical.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm trying to make her realize that I'm going to write this up. I'm hoping to write this up. It looks like a nice little operation, but I just might not have that kind of time. We do need to go.
I understand. And you, you said you're with was it a magazine or are you a freelance or?
I'm with the Chicago Art.
Oh wow! So you're doing like your own travel guide, sort of I'm sure they'll put it in that.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll have to call up Cindy and see if she's free earlier. But I suppose somebody could give you a tour.
That would be amazing.
Maybe around 11. Maybe in about an hour.
All right.
11,
Yes.
11:15. We'll call it.
That would be.
Make sure everyone's there by then.
I can take a look around.
And just in exchange, maybe you give us, like I said, a fair, but cognizant of our welcomeness, cognizant of our hospitality. You will reflect that in your fair review.
and I'm sure I'll buy some of this. I like your apple butter.
Oh, thank you. Yes, yeah. We make the jams and butters here ourselves. Some of the cousins and nieces and nephews really get into that stuff. So it's good. We like to let the kids. They get their chores and stuff, especially as they get older. We like to let them sort of pick what they like. That's what they specialize. Wonderful. Yeah. So you have a long, nice conversation. You set that up. Meanwhile, what does everybody else want to do, either in the store or sort of nearby, while at least Mary Lou, one of the heads of this place, is sort of occupied?
Agent Paradox, I think you had the first behind the scenes chat.
Yeah. So I was gonna look around for any staff only signs, any restricted areas.
Sure. Yeah, you generally, as you're looking around, you see a couple people, a couple farm hands, and more like more people that look like they work here, and they're among the family. They're kind of walking around. They're starting doing odd jobs and this and that. As you kind of walk around, you do see that generally most of the people are kind of staying closer towards the. If you look on the map, more the parking lot, store. Playground area. There's also a little spot where there's the roads there where they have they launch the sort of the hay bale ride leaves and goes down into the orchards and through the pumpkin patch. And so it looks like most people are sort of conglomerated there. There aren't a whole lot of people on the other side of the barn. So there's not a lot of people by the farm house or the storage area. You kind of see and you look over and there is a kind of like a staff only sort of crudely drawn on a stein, sort of stuck over by those two buildings there, kind of one by each one. You do see, kind of as you're looking around with your alertness, you actually do see somebody kind of like moseying around near the farm, and you kind of see him just sort of walking around. It looks like he's maybe waiting for somebody to come back with an item or something. And he does have a double-barrel shotgun. Kind of, do you know the farmer stance that sometimes you see him do, where they'll walk around with it it's open. The shotgun's open on their arm. So they can, like, either the shells are already in there or they're ready to put two in, but the gun is not ready to fire. It's cracked halfway as double barrels go. And that's kind of a sort of just a farmer rest stance. So he's got a shotgun, but he's not really currently using it. Looks like he's just sort of walking around, maybe doing a little patrol, kind of like a sort of security, or he's waiting for the plow to come back so he can do his version of the his share of the work.
Okay, so it looks like a patrol, or he's waiting for something.
Right, like there are people that are there are members of the farm that are observant and they're keeping their eyes out, sort of things like that. Like I said, while they're either waiting to do other work or that is their assigned work for the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not going to do anything too crazy right now.
Yeah, nothing too secure, from what you've seen for your standards, but it's not just going to be you can slip wherever you want to go.
Mm-hmm. And it definitely looks like there's a lot of Farnsworth Bell syndrome, like from all the staff. It's very clear.
not all of them have all of the features that Belle has, but usually they have one or two or a couple, and they all kind of look similar to each other. And like I said, some of them especially look close to her, and sort of just by they look like her, and then he looks like they do, or they look like the other ones look like the other ones do. So it's sort of all kind of a slight resemblance.
Okay.
So it's you do know that it seems like most people that work here are members of the family, either second cousins or direct relatives. That maybe you can kind of posit with your investigative skill that the direct relatives maybe are the ones that look a little closer, and then maybe the distant cousins where it starts to look a little different. Some of them have name tags, but it looks like most of them don't. It seems you do see maybe like you see. Jeremiah, the hay bale driver, is kind of smoking a cigarette by the hay bale as he waits for the people to go through like the pre sort of, this is what you're going to do. You take the apples here, make sure not to jump off the hay bale while it's going, that kind of little quick intro. So he's waiting to, drive the hay bale back for the first party of people. And he is late. He does have a little name tag. All right, what is everybody else doing while Prada keeps some of the keeps Mary Lou distracted, occupied?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, out in the parking lot, or if I was out in the parking lot standing, does any of the buildings look like they're open? Like any of the doors open?
Yes, it does look like. You can see that the barn and farmhouse appear to be open. You can't quite see into them necessarily from where you're standing, but you do see the door open.
The door is open.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like they're going in and out, taking things or taking out livestock or taking out things. Doesn't look like there's any livestock out currently. They probably don't have a lot that are going this part of the year, but you get the idea that perhaps when the crops are not as in season, they might be doing more livestock. Whatever they can manage here during those parts of the year.
Okay. I feel like I just kind of want to wander around a little bit and just kind of be observant. See if I could look around, look into windows if there are any. And,
Sure.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be like overly
about
it. I'm just kind of wandering around, taking it all in. That's kind of
sure. You can do a alertness or search in that case.
No.
You're looking, and unfortunately, like a lot of the windows are kind of the lights are off or they're kind of higher up, so it's hard to see into them. In the case of the living area. The other buildings don't seem to have very many windows, unfortunately, or the only windows are the sort of the barn type windows. If you're familiar, where you can kind of open up the part of the barn without opening up the rest of the door, and those don't appear to be open. Other than in the case of the front barn is like half of it's open, which you can see. Maybe I would say perhaps I can at least give you that you kind of look around a little bit and you kind of step so you can kind of see into can't quite see into the farmhouse too good, but you kind of see into the barn a little bit. If you kind of approach from the roadside, you can kind of just mosey along the road a little bit, and you do see inside. It looks like they have looks like at least you see 2 cows and a goat, and it looks like there's some hay bales, some other equipment in here that you might store in a barn, and some extra feed and things like that stowed away or stored up. And that's about all you can kind of see as you glance in.
Okay.
And then did Patch and Pawn want to be doing anything during this time?
Yes, I would like to be looking for security cameras. And I was
Sure.
wondering, additionally, what kind of power supply do they get? Is it above ground lines?
I do believe it would be. Yeah, I believe it is above ground lines, and then you do also spot a generator or two.
Okay.
So it does look like they have a couple things.
I'm gonna hop on the little apple train tour. I want to go back to that farm pit.
Sure. And then, sorry, also to answer your other question, it doesn't look like there'd appear to be too many security, like there doesn't appear to be a lot of security cameras. You do actually see one that's just in the store. And so they do have a camera that watches the inventory and things like that. But it looks to be just like an isolated one camera system. The rest of the security seems to be just people that are either around doing work already or making themselves, wandering around or kind of just hanging out in the areas where people might go that they're not supposed to during the work hours or during the open hours. But yeah, so yeah, you see Agent Patch, is joining the group. Looks like the family is going to get up on the, and go pick some apples. The older couple looks like to be appearing. They go inside to the store. They, get some food. Prada would notice and sit down. So it looks like they're going to have a little bit of a breakfast. Maybe do the next do the next ride over. Anybody else want to join Patch and the family to go ride back and pick some apples? All right. Looks like it's
well, Agent Paradox. If you're not going with her, I will.
Well, I was thinking, I have this farmer with a double barrel in front of the barn. I was hoping if I could wait a while, if there was a pattern in the patrol, and maybe just take a quick look inside.
Good idea. I'll make sure our doctor doesn't run into any issues during the hayride.
All right, cool. Yeah. So, Agent Pond, Agent Patch, you all approach, where the signups are there. There's a woman there. Her name is Annie, and she says, hi, and she, you sign up. You pay a little bit of a little fee that's sort of just for the apples, and then the ride and experience is sort of included in that. And so it's maybe like $40 for a bushel or 20 for a bag or something like that. They have a couple options for you to pick from. It looks like the family, they're going to get a couple bushels or, a couple bags each on the, like a bag for each kid and one bushel for the adults or something like that. And so you all, decide on your, the size of how much you want. And you all, get up on the, in the back of the hay barrels, sort of a ride they got set up. It is more of a, thing centered for kids, but it's a nice little ride. It's very scenic, very beautiful country. If you're into that sort of thing, very nice landscapes, sort of views as you ride along. Nice little trot back, and they bring you all the way back. You do sort of pass by that tree. You make a little half circle around, and you go continue down the road. You end up in the back, and that's where you sort of get off. And that's where they ask you, all right, we're going to go to the sour apples first. You can add as many. If you want to do all one, you can. Otherwise, you can half fill your containers with one and then half fill with the other. And so, they go by sour first. They, offer you to let you pick any apples. The kids are happily picking. They're joking. They're, making silly, noises, and they dare to even like one goes to throw an apple at the other, and the parents like, "What are you doing?" And so, it's a nice, cute sight as you get some apples. Then they bring you over to the other side. You get a chance to walk around a little bit and get some red apples as well if you want. And yeah, is there anything else you wanted to do while you're out here along the tour?
Is there the tree is pretty far away, the where the fire pit was. I was going to say, is there kind of an window of opportunity to?
It's unfortunately in the middle. So you went by it, and so
Okay.
you notice you did actually you went kind of by the area where the campfire was, probably not directly over it, but you did go by, and then they took you to the back where you actually picked apples.
Okay.
So we got.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we've got sweet here, sour there. What's the big tree got?
Let me see. The big tree has sweet. It has red apples. It looks like they usually have sweet, and then they have sour when they are able to get it and grow it.
Mm-hmm. There's a guide here, right?
Oh yeah. So there is. It's actually Annie, the woman you signed up with.
Okay.
And so she kind of is making sure everyone's doing the right things. And she's like, yeah, you can kind of look and see. If you're picking apples for eating, I would suggest you look for ones that are more like this. You can tell kind of because they feel like that. And then they're like, oh, but if you want for a pie, you might even go for one of these. If you're kind of going for this kind of pie. And so, she's happy to answer any questions you might have and, point out for the kids. She's like, oh, that looks like a good one. That one's nice and big, And so, she seems rather amicable. She looks to be, maybe about 18 or early 20s.
Annie, is there a significance to the Farnsworth family, to that beautiful tree that seems to be the centerpiece of this orchard?
Oh, I don't suppose any more than the others. It's just the oldest tree, I suppose. It's kind of the big mama tree, like I like to call it, of the orchard. It's been pure and big as far as I always remember. I think like I said, it was one of the. I think my mama said it was one of the first trees that was planted. That's why it's so big. Kind of was the start of the orchard.
Would you mind terribly if I picked an apple from that tree? I've heard the older trees give the sweetest fruit.
We'd have to go. We'd have to go outside of the tour because we have to walk all the way over there.
If you don't mind.
I suppose that would be something to maybe hook up with Mary Lou, my aunt, just because I can't really quite leave the tour group.
Right, I understand.
But you could try to persuade her, though. It seems like she wants you to go through the proper channels for that.
Sure.
But you could try to press.
Oh no, I have. Well, hold on. Actually,
So there's theoretically more than one skill you could try. Yeah, you want to try with persuade, or
sure,
what are you going to say?
This is my only social skill.
Yeah. So yeah, what are you going to say?
Well, I'm here with a group that is working on a piece showcasing local artisan homegrown farms, and if I could just get a sample of your best fruit, that would really give a glowing review, give me something lovely to say about this farm. Plus, it's so beautiful. It'd make for a really good picture of the article, just the centerpiece of this beautiful old apple tree. Oh my God, 25 out of 40. I actually got that.
And she's like, all right, well, I guess, all right, real quickly then, and she says, she says to everyone now, I'll be right back. And she takes she looks up to Jeremiah, who's like kind of nearby, still on the hay bale, hay bale ride. And the little tractor that's pulling it. And he says, I'll wait here. And she's like, yeah, sure. Just, keep an eye out. And she's like, yeah, I got it. Kind of half lazily, looks over to the people. So she takes you over. She also grabs a picker, like a long picking tool,
sure.
Because it's a very tall tree. And she takes you over, and she kind of looks a little bit nervous, but she wants, she's like, well, I guess that makes sense to me. If you're going to give us a nice little bit of publicity, I guess we can offer you an apple. I don't necessarily think this is any better, but Annie, sure,
I won't tell anyone. This is a very appreciated act that you're doing for me.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone about it?
Sure. She said, do you know how to get this thing up there? And
of course, and
all right,
I'll do a little bit of that, a little bit of like take a picture with my phone, like do the act,
sure.
Like, yes, I am doing all of this. But like, is the fire pit still there? I know I can't like comb through it.
Yeah, it looks like the remnants are a little bit there. It looks like they've been kind of cleaned up this morning. So there's a little bit of earth that still looks like it was disturbed last night, and kind of like something was burned. But most of the remains have been sort of kind of moved around, or kind of or sort of flattened out so that things could go over.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else to see here, then I'll, do that, go through the motions, and then.
Yeah, she's eager to. Yeah, she's eager to get back to the group, and you all finish your apple picking. Is there anything else you wanted to do upon while you were out on the little tour?
No.
And then she, as you're going back, she says, yeah, and that's our wonderful, apple orchards. We're famous around the county and, Ohio for the apples from those trees. So been here a while, our whole, our family farm, so to speak. She says, of course, I'm sure, you've heard of our pumpkins as well. Make sure to get them while they last. They won't be here long, just like apples about to go out of season. So now do a reminder, even outside of season, we have, jams and butters and things like that. Do last a little longer. So if you want your apple fixins, do stop by that store on the way out. And she says, all right, well, here's sort of the end of our tour. We're coming back to the, our wonderful little playground over there and parking lot. And, that's where we got the, the storefront up there that you can, with my little station right by it. So, do see me if there's anything else I can help you with. Otherwise, you can see my Aunt Mary Lou inside the store. Happy to have you back in the future. Thanks again for coming on the tour. Please exit to the store.
Yeah, we'll meet up with, unless Pond, do you want to do anything, or do you want to just meet up with the rest?
No, she was too cheerful. She gave me a headache.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's meet up with everyone else.
All right. Yeah. So you all meet up, sort of just outside the store, or perhaps inside it, where Prado is finishing up, and got a thing arranged. Should he desire?
Yes, I am waiting for the tour. In the meantime, I think I'll just walk out and walk over to the pumpkin patch. And yes, I said pumpkin patch. I'm keeping my eyes out for where people are not going. But just sort of cataloging it in my head.
Other people that are visiting or touring the farm, or where there's workers aren't going?
Workers, people that are,
okay.
Like if that building, nobody ever goes into that building because it's
right.
got all the dead bodies in it.
You see, let's see here. Well, I guess I should note there's also, as you're kind of looking around, you do see that they, now that it's getting closer to lunchtime, they're setting up a little food truck kind of on the side of the store. It looks like there's kind of people everywhere. It seems that now that it's during the day, most people aren't at the living quarters, so you don't see many people coming and going now that everyone's sort of up and working. You imagine maybe some people are sleeping to do later shifts, but you obviously, like I said, it doesn't seem like a lot of movement coming in and out of there. Generally, most of the buildings people are going to, you see a couple people go over to the equipment shed and get some equipment. One person goes in and takes a tractor out of there, and drives a tractor out, closes it behind him. Puts the little padlock back on. You see the farmhouse doesn't seem to be getting a whole lot of use, but there was some people going in and out at the beginning of the day. You noticed, or Paradox did when he sort of looked around. So I guess the two of you do notice that man, the guy with the shotgun, he does seem to be, you do see him now. Now he doesn't have the shotgun anymore, and he is pushing a wheelbarrow towards the pumpkin patch.
In reconnaissance, what I'm trying to do, and if I get on this little tour, my questions are going to be, so where do you make your product? Where do you, you have a professional kitchen and you work in it, and where do you make your pies? Where do you do all of your canning and things like that? I'm hoping to get glimpses into places that people don't normally get to go.
Right.
All right. But my tour hasn't really started yet.
Yeah, see, is there anything else you wanted to do or mention to each other before we move on to who's going to go on the tour?
I'm not going to, well, if I'm still chatting with people, I'm actually trying to find out more about their family. So I heard the name James, and I'm trying just for somebody, maybe that's chatty. It's like, oh yeah, my grandpa's been around for 400 years. And,
sure. I feel like this could be, I would say either maybe a philosophy or luck roll to just sort of kind of pick somebody out that you think might be a little bit of a slightly more of a have a little more of a blabbermouth.
Do we have philosophy?
Or did I say philosophy? Sorry, psychology is what I meant.
Let's see.
A little brain fart there.
I think it's human.
I don't even see how.
Oh, sorry, human. Correct. Wow. Yeah, my bad. Sorry about that. Too many games.
So that or luck
with different rules. Yeah. Yes, human, which is human intelligence, which is basically psychology, reading people, things like that.
My human is 45, and I rolled
Okay.
a 45.
Hey, all right on the money. Sure, you kind of look around. You do see, as you're kind of walking towards the pumpkin patch, there does seem to be a man who's kind of like, checking pumpkins, making sure none of them are having spots or blemishes. You do see, when some of the kids are coming by, he kind of plays around with them and kind of, laughs with them. And he seems friendly. He doesn't seem the brightest of the bunch, but he does seem like he knows his way around the pumpkins, and he seems kind of jolly. And like you said, he seemed very good with the kids. Kind of got on their level, kind of thing. So maybe you can get something out of him just because he doesn't know better. But
Good morning. How are you?
oh, hey, I'm having another bright day on God's green earth. How about you?
I'm doing very well. So how does one judge the best way to pick a pumpkin?
How do you mean?
Well, for instance, let's say that for Halloween I'm going to carve a pumpkin,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like a large one. What would be the best one? What would last the longest?
Oh, hmm.
Are you
Well, I'd
you a
say-
member of the family?
Oh, yeah, of course. Most of us are, at least in some way, maybe loosely for some of us.
How old does he look?
He looks to be about maybe 30s, kind of younger, starting to become more of an older, starting to become an adult kind of thing. Getting his years.
You're one of the younger people working here.
Yeah. My name's Bobby James.
James.
Yeah, Bobby James. Bobby James Burns. Yeah, Bobby James Burns. My mama was a member of the. She was a Farnsworth.
Oh, she was a Farnsworth. I see.
Yeah, my daddy was a Burns. Yeah.
Farnsworths go back quite a ways, don't they?
For sure. Yeah, he in Ohio and Kentucky were real roots there for sure.
How many generations do you have here? Grandfather, great grandfather?
Well, wait, is an uncle, is a grand uncle a generation? That's not a generation, right?
Well,
No,
I mean,
okay,
grand is a generation.
Right, but not like I don't got to count the uncle separately from the.
No, we can count them the same.
I mean, you mean this farm or the Farnsworths?
Well, do the Farnsworths have a separate farm?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are in Kentucky, I believe. I don't know. We're kind of spread out. A lot of us moved to Ohio. I didn't, but some of them moved to start the farm, I think. I remember my mommy talking about that. Let me see here. They've been around for quite a while. I think at least five. We've 4 or 5 at this farm for sure. I think because I got my daddy and my grandpappy, my great grand, and then his grand, and then I suppose there was another one in there. Yeah.
Wow, they must be doing really well. It's the apples, right? The apples make you healthy.
Right. Yeah. Right. It was an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Yeah. Unfortunately they are seasonal, but they are rather good when they're in season. We got products going for the whole year, so we rely a little bit on the goats, the cows and goats and other stuff a little more during that time of the year.
So in order to, I think this guy's chatty. I'm going to keep my eyes out for other employees, and if they start coming near, I'm going to immediately turn back to the pumpkin picking.
Okay.
So that they don't say, Bobby Joe, you're not supposed to talk.
Right. Yeah. Because you can do that. You can definitely do that. Let me see here. Is your goal to try to? So what are you going to ask him to try to get a little out of him?
I'm trying to get any kind of information that might end up being relevant. So my next question would probably be: so do you make the jams and jellies and pies and stuff? I'm knowing that probably mom does or grandma does.
Yeah. My aunt, Mary Lou. We got Beth. Mary Beth, my cousin. What's this? Gabriel. Gabriel likes working on them. They do a lot of the jams and butters and stuff. We got a full kitchen. Plus basically like a little mini cannery, I suppose, in our little apartments, living areas type thing. So yeah, all that's made on site mostly. And like I said, we rely on our 2 cows and our goat for butter and cheese. The rest of the products are purchased locally, usually from other farmers. We go to the store over in Arcanium to get the weird stuff, I guess.
Sugar. And
yeah, right. Things we exactly. Yeah. And anything that might be different, like if we need cinnamon or cardamom or the what's the starry thing for pies and the like.
I have no idea.
I just like eating them. I gotta admit, I just like eating them.
I bet it smells like apple pie around here all the time.
Oh yeah, apple or pumpkin. I don't know how to make a pumpkin pie, but I sure know how to pick one. And it's like, it's funny. The good pies good for pumpkining are different than pies good for carving. Some people don't like to hear that because they want to just get one and take the insides, make the pumpkin pie. But really, you kind of get one of the like flat ones with a really flat bottom. Some people cut the bottom and then they set that flat for the carving. But I don't like cutting the bottom because actually that's going to make the pumpkin dry out faster. So I try to get one that's really got a solid base, so I don't got to wobble it around and I don't got to cut a line.
So this will go on for a while.
Yeah, probably until the time for your tour.
Okay.
Yeah. So does anybody else want to do anything before Hades and whoever wants to join him goes on the little tour of the farm?
Have like an art history kind of, something framed and cutesy that talks about the history of the farm, like the first Farnsworth and where it all came from or anything like that.
Unfortunately, no, they're not super public about that kind of stuff. It's mostly sort of an oral thing that you'll hear about from people. They do have maybe like a couple portraits, there's some portraits of family members, ones that have maybe passed away or like the important ones in the shop. That's about it. And those aren't necessarily labeled. They're just sort of on the walls. Maybe if you ask Mary Lou.
Okay. That was my only thought. So
cool.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering about the man with the shotgun. He was outside of what you said, the barn.
Mm-hmm.
And he no longer has a shotgun. He's off. I wanted to peek inside the barn.
Sure. It looks like you can kind of peek in through the open barn door, and you do see that there does appear to be a man. It does say on the inside of the door, by the way, it's again one of those like staff only. Must be accompanied by staff. In this case, it says, and you do see he is actually in there. The shotgun is resting up against the inside of the cow pen, and he is currently milking the cow in the other pen, or like the pen right next to them. So he's got like it's not leaning up against near him, but it's up against the other wall, so the cow doesn't knock it over or anything.
So do I notice anything out of the ordinary?
No, it just seems to be some people doing work. You do notice they do have a shotgun handy, which is a little peculiar to have it that close, but not at all absurd to see a farmer have a shotgun and even to have them around, because they probably use that for varmint and different things like that to make sure nothing eats the pumpkins or the apples or tries to go after the livestock when they let it graze.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna get out of there then and meet up with the group.
Yeah, you all sort of meet up. And it looks like about 5 or 10 minutes until the time of Prada's little custom tour. You see, you actually do see somebody come out. If you're looking towards the living area, you do see someone come out. A younger woman, you're guessing probably Cindy, and she goes to the storefront, probably to talk to Mary Lou. And looks like the tour's about to begin. So who would like to go with Hades on the tour? Hades, Patch, Paradox, cool.
And then, are they looking like they will be heading towards the farmhouse, or is that a separate thing?
You imagine they will, because they did offer a more like she said, the more complete tour, which you would imagine would include the things you don't get on the hay bale ride.
Then more than happy to join. Yep. Cool.
So Parsnip, did you want to maybe take this time to check back, or do you want to go on the computer, or did you want to go with them?
No, I'll go on the tour. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because you can always, by the time the tour is over, it'll probably be lunch. So it should be, you'll know for sure it's done by then.
So now, very specifically, as we're on the tour, I'm going to keep my eyes out for anything that looks remotely occult.
Yeah,
I mean,
luckily,
except for a cross hanging on the wall.
unless for some reason you end up being kind of quickly moved through someplace, I'm going to go ahead and give you all the benefit of, in Delta Green, if you're not super pressed for time, you don't necessarily have to roll a skill. If you have it high enough, at say a 40, a 60, or 70 level, that might get you something. So I'll consider, kind of like passive perception in D&D for those of you who play that, I'll be using the alertness skills at their highest rather than making you roll them. So
Also,
if you're in a place to see something, I'll mention it to you.
Also, the lack of religious artifacts. If there's no cross on the wall, I mean, in Ohio, in rural Ohio, that would be really weird.
Yeah, you didn't see any in the storefront. You get the idea that maybe that is Cindy and the younger members maybe kind of mentioning that they don't want religious iconography right next to where they're selling products. But as far as a lack thereof, like you said, you don't seem to have seen any in the public facing sides, but now you'll get to look at the more private areas. All right. Cool. Yeah. And so you actually start kind of right at the storefront. Mary Lou introduces you to Cindy and she says, "Oh, sorry, I just got ready. I'm coming in a little earlier than I thought today. Tomorrow is usually, I usually do early days. Anyway, wonderful to meet you. I'm Cindy. I'm one of our tour guides here, handle a lot of the relations and social media and stuff like that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about, us and our family and the farm. So yeah, we'll do a little more of a complete tour here, kind of thing we, give for people, kind of the neighbor special or, kind of the special people who are interested in doing large scale orders from us. We usually give them this kind of tour. Somebody that's doing a piece like yourself, we might get this kind of thing, or doing a news story, we might take a reporter. Come by this way, we'll actually go around, we'll go by the roadside here and then kind of make our way to kind of a nice loop around the farm sort of. And she takes you and she says, of course, you've been to our wonderful storefront, that and the food truck we got going, the storefront opens, right at 10, food truck opens at lunch, closes for a little bit. We open up again for dinner right before we close, dinner, dessert type things. And she walks over. So here we got our farm. You'll note that we have 2 cows and 1 goat. We also sometimes bring in other livestock, like additional goats and cows during the non out of season months. Just to we have a little more space, a little more area. So we sometimes bring in different livestock stuff like that. I think they used to do sheeps too, maybe, but it's hard to compete, with the. People are going for like a full sheep farm with the amount of wool they put out. Really hard to compete with their rates. So we ended up, I think they ditched that 10 or 20 years ago. But yeah, here we go. So I said, we got the barn right there, and she kind of brings you don't quite go into the barn, but she'll even open up the other door and give you a nice look. Point out, that's Bessie. That's Mary Beth. Not to be confused with actual Beth or Mary Lou. We've done that before once, after having some cider. We didn't hear that for a week, me and my sister. Oh, geez. But, and she kind of shows you the animals.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we have a section on ADA accessibility, American Disabilities Act, and I noticed that you have signs saying no dogs. What about people who need seeing eye dogs?
Well, see, the unfortunate part with that, we might make an exception if they call ahead and they're in certain areas. But the reason we do that, it's really unfortunate, is that dogs are just tenacious creatures. I mean, not all dogs are bad, but generally, whenever we have people with dogs around here, they like a pumpkin will get splat or an apple will fall off a tree and they go running. They're like, I got to have that food. And, we can't have that. There's legal reasons, that my aunt could go into you more about. I don't know about that much as I'm more of the social relations side. But, if somebody eats a bad piece of pumpkin or a bad apple and then their dog gets sick or God forbid dies, we don't want to be blamed. We don't want them eating our products, honestly. To be, we use a lot of that for compost, or some of that can be fed to the animals. Sometimes, like I said, we do pigs on the off season. So really, it's just a sort of a safety thing. We don't want our product, and it's really for the safety of the dogs too. Like I said, because some of this stuff, when you grow 200 pumpkins, 400 pumpkins in a week or in a season or a month, some of those pumpkins don't, they're not the best. Some of them don't get picked. Some of them get a little rotten in areas. Some of them just kind of have a gross touch to them. Sometimes an animal will gnaw on them before we shoot them away with a BB or a shotgun shell, or some shot or whatever. And so we typically don't want to serve, any person or animal stuff that's been chewed on or, wilted or broken or, abscessed or for any, we don't see a lot of that kind of thing. But if any of it shows up, we make sure not to serve that product. And just as I said, more of a formality with the dogs. It's hard to keep them, even when they're on a leash. I mean, they run, with the leash and they're already eating it.
No problem. I totally understand.
And she does explain that, and then she continues on. She leads you away from the farm. Closes the one door. Looks like the one guy is finishing up milking. He's grabs the shotgun and leaves. Heads towards the maybe back to the main house to go talk with somebody or get do some other job. You do see somebody coming out of the equipment shed. They've got looks like a hoe. They're making their way towards the orchard. She does open it up. It's already open, as like I said, the guy's, grabbing the thing and leaving. And so she does leave it open for a second, she says, this is our equipment shed, mostly just farm stuff here. This is where we park the tractor. Those of you, let's see here. Those of you with high alertness, I know a couple of you have 60 or higher. If you have 60 alertness, you get, you just get a little brief glimpse. She mentions yeah, that's where we keep the tractor. You see, we got farm tool equipment's there. Some of it's already out in the field or in the orchard. And then she goes ahead and closes it. And while you do notice, though, given that the tractor is gone, where you kind of see the sort of dirt or sort of embed dirt and dust where you imagine the tractor usually sits, under where the tractor usually sits is some kind of a door or a panel that leads into either a crawl space or extra storage or something there. And so that's our equipment shed. And she kind of starts leading you, by the farmhouse now and kind of, back towards that way. So any questions as we continue?
No, just for the game master.
Yeah, sure.
Did I notice anything strange with with human int? Any signs of nervousness or lying? When I talked about the dogs.
No, it seemed like she was a little like one of those kind of things where she's like, I know it's policy. It's like kind of like it's corporate policy. It's kind of that kind of attitude where she's like, even if you might have a right point, there's nothing I can do about it. It's a family rule, yada yada. Okay. So it seemed like she wasn't super eager to. She didn't really. She was kind of concerned when you brought up the disability and providing for those kind of people because she's like, oh no, we don't want to do that. But it's not like she's hiding any deep secret that she knows or anything like that. But yeah, and she leads you over and she's like, we also pass by the farmhouse here, and she kind of cracks the door open a little more so you can see, again, more storage and more things, hay bales, different things. Looks like more seed, kept up above on the shacks and things like that. So anything that they couldn't fit in the equipment shed or the barn itself, ends up here. And she lets you take a look for just a moment, and then again puts that, or I guess she leaves that door kind of as much open as it was. You see, it looks like another person comes by, and as you're leaving, they enter the farmhouse and they grab a bale of hay or straw, and they take that over probably towards the hay bale ride, replace one that's getting low, or add an additional one for an extra seat or something like that. So there's some movement in and out of these buildings, but not necessarily all the time. There's periods where they go sort of open, but there are a lot of people sort of walking around or keeping their eyes out. And so, she begins leading you back. She leads you now on the map to the more top left sort of side of the pumpkin patch and orchard, and begins to walk you sort of along the orchard. She's like, here's our wonderful pumpkin orchards, we have every year. If you talk to Bobby James, he could tell you, we got some pumpkins here that are good for carving, others are good for pies, some are good for just decoration. I know a lot of people like to get the little pumpkins or squashes and put them on tables and stuff around the autumn and things like that, sort of festive up the place. She brings you around, she brings you to where one of the dirt paths sort of goes through the pumpkin patch. And so she brings you to the edge of the orchard. And she says, here, is where our sour apples start up here on the, almost be the left side if you're looking at the map, with the road sort of like that. And then, as we go all the way over to the right side, that's where we have our sweet on that side, of course, we got our, sweet big mama apple tree in the middle there, one of the oldest trees in the orchard. And she kind of just walks you along the outside edge, kind of in the middle of the farm, right between the pumpkin patch and orchard. She says, yeah, if you want to go deeper in the orchard, we offer that, almost every day that we're open during the season. You can take the hay bale ride back and pick apples. If you want to get a closer look there. And she brings you all the way over, and she says, here's kind of where we have our little, roads that go between everything. And she finally brings you up to the playground. And she's like, here, of course, we offer a nice little playground for the kids. We know how they, families love to come pick apples and pick pumpkins together. And so people always get to have a good time there. And then finally, she does lead you back to the apartments. She says, "This is where we live. We've got our kitchen. We got a full decent-sized kitchen. Of like a nice home and a little mini cannery there. We got one of them fancy bottlers. That bottles jugs and bottles for when we have a hard cider and a cider to go. So most of our products are made on site. Anything else, as was mentioned, is sourced locally.
When do you do that? I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's a question, but also just asking about any cold storage.
Cold storage. You mean like refrigerators?
Yeah. What do you do for that?
Oh yeah, we got 2 big refrigerators. We also got one of them freezers where we keep meat and things that we want to freeze over, stuff like that. Any products or kind of large scale stuff. Which is basically like you would imagine is like the common sort of industrial or like hunting sort of freezer where you could big enough you could put a whole piece of a whole rack of venison or something like that, keep it for the winter or keep it cold for a longer time.
How many months of the year are you closed?
And she says, well, our store and our store is open pretty much all year. We run food truck. We do the food truck whenever there's enough people to make it worth it. Open it up and keeping everything going. Other than that, the apple orchard and pumpkin patch is obviously only open in season. Excuse me. I should also point out, if you notice, we do have a nice little layer of flower beds like right in the front. Pumpkin patch, so we do offer some flowers, when the different flowers are in season, and even for people that are interested in purchasing a large enough amount, we allow them to come out and pick them themselves. But other than that, it's mostly just the store that are open between about November till about I believe February or March again is when we open up, because that's when the apples start coming in again. So it's mostly just winter.
Do you mind terribly if I go use your bathroom while we're in here?
Oh, no, of course not. There's one in the store.
I will say the pumpkin pie kind of went through me. Is there maybe a closer one that I can get to?
No, sorry, not that is open to the public. She's kind of walking over. She's like, as I mentioned, we've got our food truck up here, and we're back to our wonderful parking lot and store. If there's anything else I can, do for you, like I said, we got full, faculties in there.
Agent Pond would like to go to the store, and then what kind of bathroom are we talking about? Is it like a single bathroom thing?
Yeah, it's like one of those sort of unisex bathrooms. It's got a full
okay.
Toilet, toilet, mirror, sink, everything.
Yeah,
little baby changer.
Okay. He would like to pop the top off the toilet if he can and break the connectors so that the toilet is broken.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. You don't need to roll to break a toilet, that's for sure. I mean, so you're able to break this toilet. What are you going to do now that it's broken?
Go out front. I'm sorry, I was on the tour. I was told that I could use the bathroom, but it appears to be broken. Is there one inside the house I could use?
Mary Lou seems to be doing some paperwork right at the counter. She's like, "Oh no! Oh God! What happened? What's wrong with it? Is it's not flushing? It won't.
I'm not a plumber.
Flooded? Oh,
I don't know.
Geez. She's like, damn it. She's like, Jebediah, you around? Are you up? She kind of yells at the front door of the store. She's like, Jebediah, someone get Jebediah. Oh, God damn it.
Ma'am,
like,
I must assure you, this is an emergency for me.
I understand. Shit. All right, tell you what, she's like, Cindy, Cindy's like carrying some boxes into the store. She's like, yeah. She's like, can you, give our friend here, just take him into the the apartment, our little living, the apartments, and just bring him to the bathroom. Just make sure he doesn't get lost. And she's like, all right, sure, sure. And she takes you. She puts the box. She sets that down, and she's like, yeah, right with me. and you enter. You exit and then you enter the apartments, and you kind of just walk across the parking lot. It seems a little bit of a steps up, and now as you enter, it seems to be like a rather simple wooden building. It seems to be built a long time ago. There's been a number of looks like improvements. You can kind of see where bits of where the wood shade doesn't quite exactly match the wood that replaced it. Seems like the first floor, you got the hallway, and there seems to be a main room with stairs that lead up. Because it looks like there's about maybe it looks like 3 floors based on the windows, either 2 floors in an attic or 3 floors. And she takes you down the hallway. You see there's about maybe 3 or 4 rooms, like 3 on one side, maybe 2, or, like 2 or 3 on one side and 2 or 3 on the other. And then one of those doors leads to the bathroom. She says, "Oh, it's, second door on the left." And she kind of walks with you as if to wait right outside the bathroom. Just make sure you find your way around.
Okay. I'll be in here for a bit, and he'll go in. I think that's a good call. Is there a window lock? Like this is a bathroom that opens up to the outside as well?
It does. Yeah, there is a window lock.
Okay. Yeah, he would like to unlock that, and if possible, kind of maybe keep it so it'll not be completely obvious that it is unlocked to anyone looking.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, you can easily do that.
And in the walkthrough of kind of that back area, is there any basement stairs that we're seeing? It appears to be mostly living area.
Yeah, it seems like a living area. There's some couches. It looks like a big TV, kind of like the sort of like at the living room or the sort of meeting room for them all. There, like I said, there are stairs that go up, but none that seem to lead down. Not in this building.
Perfect. Yeah, they'd probably be one over the other anyways. Yeah, he'll just kind of wait in the bathroom quietly for a few minutes, then flush, then come out.
Yeah, let me check some real quick here. Is anybody else doing anything while this is all going on? And Cindy is sort of, the tour guide is left, so you're all just sort of hanging out. Mary Lou's still at the shop. People walking around, but you can do things as well. And then we'll go back to Pond for a moment.
Did I see anything unusual, any religious symbology or?
Oh, well, I you didn't quite see, there was kind of a lack of it on a lot of the public areas, and didn't see any necessarily in the barn or anything. But I will say it is worth noting to Pond that you did see a cross on the wall in the living room. So it looked like a regular sort of cross crucifix, the typical Catholic or Protestant version.
No dart holes all around.
No dart
Okay.
holes. It's not upside down. It's not scorched. Nothing like that. And yeah, as you're leaving, you do see a man entering, and he sort of enters enters as in he comes down the stairs, and he comes down the stairs. And he starts to walk through the living room as if going back towards the kitchen, which is behind the living room. And as he's going, he kind of stops and looks like an older, sort of grizzled man. He kind of has that sort of look of an older guy that's still kind of handsome. He keeps himself, kind of not super clean, but at least shaved so his beard isn't scraggly or anything like that. And so he's well kempt and decently attractive for a man of his age. And he kind of looks at you a little startled. And he kind of grumbles to Cindy. He's like, "Who is this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's just somebody that we had here. He just needed to use the bathroom. The other one's broken. So I was, Mary Lou had me take him here. I was leading him in." He says, "All right, well, better be going then." He kind of gives you this sort of look like he doesn't. You kind of tell just with a passive sort of human hint that he did not like that you were inside the building. This is definitely a no-go area for people that are not of the family or that work at the farm. And you can actually, why don't you also give me an alertness?
Right. A 40 out of 70 is a pass.
You do notice, it looks like he's wearing like he's got like this just sort of a casual sort of shirt and jeans and sort of rough farm wear. However, you notice that there is he's got some sort of sheathed like little hand axe or knife of some sort on his belt. And he also, as he turns and heads toward the kitchen, you see the bulge of some sort of weapon, probably a gun of some kind, in the small of his back. That kind of sticks. It's kind of like just sort of barely hidden by his shirt that's kind of tucked into his jeans. And he kind of like that's sort of hidden there back there, and he kind of walks and he exits in the kitchen. So it seemed like he was well armed.
Well, Cindy, you should probably get me back to my group. But I do have to ask, who was that giving me the stink eye?
That's just James. You know, he's my grandpa. You know, one of the owners around here. Sort of he's one of the older members of the family. So they all their names are on the lease. You know, make sure that nobody has absolute power or anything like that. Or actually, I don't actually remember who's on the lease anymore. But yeah, he's one of our older members. And she leads you back over, and she's like, I'm glad that emergency was avoided. I presume no popping, no in pants. I hope.
That's not something to joke about, Cindy.
You know what? Very true. I've been there. Oh God. One time I made a pumpkin pie and I didn't check all the pumpkin I should have, and oof, that was not a good night for me or Betty. Whew. Anyway, let's get you back to your group. And so she takes you, and you head back to the group. You're all sort of assembled. It's more sort of in the afternoon now. The food trucks actually looks like they are getting set up to open for dinner for an hour or two before they close. Is there anything anybody else wanted to do? I figure. It is past lunchtime, so whenever you want to go check on the computer parsnip, you can. But before we leave the farm, is there anything anybody else wanted to do at the farm?
Yeah, I just wanted to check like where the generators were on that tour.
Sure. Yeah, it looks like there is one generator that is near the farmhouse and equipment shed, perhaps to it looks like they store the gas over there. And so this one looks like a sort of a wheelable generator that they can sort of move. And they keep the gas there probably for the tractor as well. They probably run on similar fuels, or they just keep all the flammable stuff in one building and keep fire away from that building. There is also another one that is by the apartments. And that one probably can connect to the apartments in the store if they needed to. But they could probably haul the other one out to the store or the barn or wherever they had machinery that needed to be turned on if for some reason there was an outage in such a situation,
If we're going to keep up the pretense that we have to go to DC, then we need to leave.
Right, because I guess you're going to Columbus soon to go to DC, yeah.
Right.
Parsnip needs to check on his code. We said we were going to do some digging into the significance of dogs anyway. Maybe even pick up a dog. So let's.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
sure.
as we're driving away, I say to them, something dawned on me as we were walking around. The absence of dogs. Aren't they usually attributed to being able to see ghosts, and they aren't fooled by like glamours that are put in place to keep people from seeing things?
Yeah, you rolled on it earlier, but if somebody else wants to give me an occult roll, I know we have a couple of people that have some rating there.
I'll give it a go.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
No,
100%.
not a critical failure, but just a regular thing.
I failed.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing specifically about dogs. You do find some stuff. There is some stuff about, stories of like, I didn't think there was a ghost, but all the animals looked in this direction, and then I knew because there was birds. Like people have weird stories that have to do with like animals seeing things, but nothing specific about like, oh yeah, dogs can spot yada yada.
Okay.
There's some stuff there. You're onto something, but nothing specifically that would say, oh yeah, dogs blank, dogs specifically. It's just animals in general, typically.
It's just
attributed.
anecdotal,
Yeah, right.
I've seen my
stuff,
dog jumps up on the bed and starts barking at something that's just not there.
Right. There is a theme of there is a theme of animals sometimes picking up on things that humans miss is sort of the general theme. But like I said, nothing specific to dogs particularly.
We didn't finish reading that oral history of the family. There might be more there as well. Just stay away from the bit about rituals and whatnot.
Oh yeah, you could give that a study.
Mm-hmm.
It would take a week to read through all of it, but that does kind of include learning the spells. So you don't have to necessarily learn it, but if you spend the week, I will tell you what the spells are, even if you don't want to actually learn them.
Is it a digital document? I can't remember.
It is.
It's on her laptop. Can I just control F dogs, see if something comes up about dogs in this doc? I don't want to spend a week reading it.
Yeah. Let me check here. Go ahead and why don't you do either a search or luck roll in that case?
Sure. It's same either way. We'll go search. Now, you know what? I'm going to go with luck and go high because I've been rolling terribly tonight. So let's see if maybe I can call it for once. 74. Yes, I did call it.
Okay. And so that was correct. Yes. Or
yes, it said high for luck.
Yes. Awesome. So you look through, and as you're looking through, you don't necessarily mention. Let me see here. There's not necessarily a particular mention of dogs particularly. But it is actually, there isn't any particular mention of like dogs, like in a sense that you were talking about with the seeing anything. But there was notice, there is one thing you find, just sort of in the passing mention, it mentions that the police's the police's bullets didn't do very well, but their riot shields, batons, and dogs did.
Very well.
So the family was rather rebuffed and hurt by shields, batons, and the dogs, but they surprisingly were resilient to bullets in this police raid that they're famous for having fled from.
Excellent. I'll share that with everyone. It's very strange, though.
Well, it makes sense with their brittle bones.
True. Yeah, I suppose so.
All right. So like I said, was there anything else? I know Parsnip was going to head back to the computer. Anything else before we go to that?
All right. We're going to go back and analyze the stuff that we got. Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good. So the computer this is a good place to sort of have our little cliffhanger here. So yeah, you go back to the computer, and indeed it is finished. It has run a sort of counter trace on this virus, and it seems that the data that was the data that was being collected with the keylogging program, the way the virus is working, it was being sent, through the, obviously the internet, bounced around a little bit, and it actually, the data was sent to an IP address, which when you look up registers to the exact address of the Farnsworth farm. So whoever is hacking and because that virus is on that farm, probably in the apartments, but theoretically anyone with a laptop on the farm within their Wi-Fi or plugged into their wall, whichever they have, that's where this came from, based on the IP address and the counter trace which you've run. So whoever was hacking your computer was from the Farnsworth farm. And I think that is a perfect place for us to call it for the night. And then we can continue with more research and how to proceed next week or on our next episode. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent. Our players included Holly Buto, Nathan Decker, Julian Arba, Alex Sun, and myself, with John Dos Passos as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Delta Green role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.